Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the first Work Tough Gear knives to be on this channel, thanks to Scab. We'll also do the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway that we should have done last week for the QSP Locust. Again, the last 2 weeks we haven't been here because Jim and I both had obligations that we had to take care of. So we're both raring to go. And then finally, I want to talk about Kidults. Are we the Kidults of the knife industry? I'm not sure if you saw this week of the $9 billion toy industries float by adults who buy toys for themselves, more so than for their kids, which is pretty interesting. And I scoffed, of course, and then well, we'll talk about it in a while. Then I've been giving it some thought. Dion Page has been too. He says the toy industries that coined the term kidults defines it as this: adults who buy toys so that they can play with them. Knives ain't toys, even if we do play with them. That is a good point. That is a good point. So when this story came up, I started thinking about, well, I'm a collector. I understand the uh compulsion to collect, and I get a lot of people like to collect toys and then keep them in their boxes, and I understand that. The playing part, Dion says, so my answer to your question is nope, no way, not at all. Maybe a bit. Can't wait for the show, knife bro. All right, Dion, it's awesome to have you here, man, and it's great to be talking with you after 2 weeks of not doing this. Dion says, well, left two other replies, but read all, and the title changed my answer to yes, because even though knives ain't toys, we still play with them. And anyone who disagrees just ain't being truthful. See, my thoughts on it are less to do with what we do with them, but more our buying habits. But we'll get to that in a little while. I want to find out what people week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Left me with mixed emotions. Let me put it that way. Like I do remember playing with my figures, my Star Wars figures, setting them up across the room on the dresser, and then shooting them down with rubber bands. Like any healthy young boy. But yeah, I don't know. So we will talk about all of these things. I am so psyched about some of the knives I have here on this table to show off tonight. Have a nice day. Good to see you here, sir. He's had his advent calendar daily. I always like to see what knife you've opened it up with. He says, good evening, junkies. Season's greetings from Have a Knife Day. Season's greetings to you, sir. First water I've had in my mouth all week without coffee mixed in. Ground Fog, good to have you here, Ground Fog. And Byron, always a pleasure, Byron Kennedy. Howdy, Bob, Jim, junkies. Great to be on Thursday Night Knives. Well, I will tell you, it is also great to be on Thursday Night Knives. Will be good to see you, sir. Saying a big hello to Bob, Jim, and everyone from the Arctic. Ohio. Seems like the Arctic. Yeah, my folks are there, and I haven't spoken to them yet about in the last 24 hours, but it looks like it's going to be nasty. It's probably a good thing I'm not driving home for Christmas this year. Ketmuk Neshard, good to have you here, sir. I know he's got his new Shining Mountain Bowie. For anyone who wants to know howdy, Bob, Jim, and junkies. Hope everyone is staying warm tonight. 11 here, but I'm sorry, 11 -8. Damn, man, that is yikes, man. Well, I actually don't mind the cold. I grew up in Ohio, and I went to school in upstate New York. I don't mind the cold unless I'm not warm enough. Lone Wolf, good to see you here, Lone Wolf. Happy holidays, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Well, a very happy holidays to you, sir. Christoph Wilhelm, good to have you here, Christoph. Oh, yeah, Thursday Night Knives, he says. Indeed, I concur. Chris Blade Ogre, good to see you here, sir. Always a pleasure. We'll get your 9 count in a little while. Knives are better than alcoholism. Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt. And together they make a brutal pair. Lone Wolf says, "I'm only a kid with an auto in my hand out the front." Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, and drive everyone around you absolutely batty. Yeah, I've been there. Never Enough Knives 007, good to have you here, sir. Happy holidays, junkies. Hope you are staying warm. You know, it's odd here tonight. Excuse me. It's been pouring all day long, but it's relatively warm. It's like oddly warm. I'm expecting it. They treated all the roads for ice. You can see all the lines on the road, but it's weirdly warm tonight. Never Enough Knives says -19 with the wind chill in snowy Wisconsin. Good Lord. Stay warm up there, everybody. Use those knives to baton you some kindling to start yourself a big fire. Ryan Walker, good to see you here, Ryan. Hopefully tomorrow I onto our eight track. I think it's Scab. I think Scab just put up a on Choir Boys Cutlery outdoors. I think he just put up a video of the eight tracks. That's a Bowie, right? Christoph says Hot Wheels and Matchbox. Yeah, I was always a Matchbox guy because of the suspension. Plus, I could get them. Hot Wheels were pretty fast and pretty smooth, but I liked Matchbox for their fidelity to the real designs. You know, this looks just like a Jaguar, and then also the fact that they had a little bit of suspension. Yeah, I don't know if you're asking me to choose, but yeah, you just brought me down memory lane. I had a pretty nice little collection of those. K Mason, good to have you here, K. He says, Bob, Jim, and fellow Eichmo maniacs. Well, it's good to have the introduction, not or I should say the reintroduction to Eichmomania. I love words and the variety, especially in our language. We have such a variety, and there are specific words for very specific things like Eichmomania, but other things as well. You're not looking furtively out the window; you're peering. That kind of thing. I love that you can get that specific. So Eichmomania. Cheers to you, sir. Hollywood Tactical, good to have you here. It was 70 and sunny in sunny LA. Sunny LA. When I was growing up, I was like, why does everything happen in Los Angeles? Because in the 70s and 80s, all the shows were filmed in like downtown Los Angeles. It's like everything that happens in LA. Dave, across Thursday Night Knives. Didn't know you were having a show tonight. Heard we were missing 2 weeks in a row. Glad to be here. We did miss 2 weeks in a row. So this is the third week, and I'm so happy to be back. Yeah, it was one occasion I got gussied up. Another Jim did. Weston Probst, good to have you here, Weston. Hey, he says. Hey to you, sir. Professor EDC, good to have you here. Hey, Bob, Jim, fellow junkies. Fellow Yankees. Hope everyone is having a nice evening. I know we are. It's awesome. It's like rainy and miserable out, though not so cold. And I'm inside a warm house, drinking delicious coffee, surrounded by knives here in the real world, and then knife friends out there in the virtual world. It is going well. Weston says it's hovering around 1 degree right now in Tulsa. What is up? And Tulsa is considerably south of us, the west. I know the storm is coming from the west, so I expect the temperature to dip here shortly. I just kind of make it a habit not to look at the weather. I'm always blindsided. Oh, did you hear, Thursday? What about Thursday? Like, did you make plans for Thursday? What's going on Thursday? You didn't hear about the storm, the wintry mix coming? Oh, come on. Yeah, I'll deal with it when it comes. I know it's not a very it's a flawed, it's not a good long-term strategy, but yeah, I miss out on those things. I don't know, because half the time they don't materialize, and a lot of the time they leave me suspicious that these are like this is the Lowe's Home Depot cabal trying to make up for the winter. Anyway, all that being said, I think it just might be time for a pocket check. Today I had, I don't want to say an odd one because it's not an odd knife. It's a great knife, but odd for me to carry it today or recently. But it's the Tucson TS 301. 301. I always confuse the number. Such a great knife, and I have been carrying the 336, the TS336, I believe is the number. It's that recurve Tonto. It's beautiful. It's a kind of a recurve Tonto slash Quaken kind of knife, and it sits right next to this one in the drawer. And when I was returning that one to the drawer this morning, I saw this and I was like, I never carry this, but man, it is such a pleasure to carry and to use. I only used this for a bagel today, but man, let me tell you, I was in good hands with this knife. This this knife, as you might imagine, with that really high uh, flat grind, did quick work on that bagel. It was awesome. Really, really luxe action on this. Very nice fitting here between the micarta and the carbon fiber bolster. This is one of the ones that's in D2 blade steel as opposed to the 14C, which I think is more coveted for this model. But just a great model, my first of two sons. I don't have I have an appetite for the brand, but I do like this one quite a bit. Nick EDCer, good to see you, sir, with your owl. Always a pleasure. We're running down what I was carrying today. I don't know if anyone else is seeing this, but my knife cam was stuttering for a second. Projects with Paul, good to have you. Hey, everyone, he says. Well, hello, Paul. Good to have you. Next up in my pocket was the Venom Jack. Yes, the December Jack Wolf Knives release. Aberdeen Blades, good to have you here, Aberdeen. Hey, folks, he says, with the little Chaka bra symbol. We'll Chaka right back at you, sir. So this is the new Jack Wolf Knives Venom Jack, the December 2022 release. I have this beautiful blue and purple fat carbon fiber. I think this is called fat camo blue carbon fiber, something like that. Just beautiful. My first of the Jack Wolf knives with this style of carbon fiber. Every release has a model or two with this kind of carbon fiber and then a different kind. And it's nice to have this one. It's very, very beautiful, I think. There's a chatoyance to it. You like the word? Chatoyance. And feels great in hand. And then as a knife, holy mackerel, he has this one really dialed in. It's got that trapper handle, which means an expanding pommel and with a dip down that gives you good ergonomics in terms of not only retention in the hand, but also it tilts the angle of the knife down a little bit in your hand. And then this already has an accelerating angle to the cutting edge with that lowered tip. So that all adds up to a really efficient cutter and slicer. Such a beautiful knife. And then again, it's got that broad Wharncliffe blade, broad for a Jack Wolf Wharncliffe so far. Very broad and fully hollow ground high. Fully hollow ground. And M390 is awesome. You've heard wax poetic about these for the last 10 months and this thing, or 9 months, and this has the same awesome build quality, design, and ergonomics. Lastly today on me, I had the 1558 Revere. The Revere. This is a knife I gotta say, mixed feelings about. I really want to love this knife. It does not disappear on my hip. It's funny. It's got an overall smaller profile than, say, this Hogtooth Ruffian. Maybe about the same when you look at it like this, but the Ruffian is way thicker and textured and all that. But it carries nicer. I don't know, something about this. It was just poking in my ribs all day when I was seated, but I still love it. I think I just have to dial in the how I carry it. But just a beautiful knife. This is 5160 or is it 52100? I can't remember. It is it's whatever that ball bearing. And this is a production model, so to speak, or a small batch model for this company. Really nice and thin. It's got the Coke bottle handle. It is a great knife. It's the carry part that I haven't gotten quite down. Got a very nice recurve, which I gotta say, well, I bought this. I had to get it with the Kydex sheath because I was like, that's how I'll use it is if I carry it. But it also comes with a really nice leather sheath, which I should have gotten to leave in most of the time because it is scuffing up the blade, and that's fine. Um, it actually makes me more apt to use it and carry it. But the leather sheath is so sweet, and it would have kept that blade from getting scuffed. So that's what I had today. Oh, I did have one other. This is my emotional support knife, and this is a new one. This just came to me from Carrie at Off Grid Knives, and it's a new coloration of the most awesome Raptor. I love the Raptor. Sorry, that was my fault. I actually almost cut my palm. That was stupid. But this is the Raptor now in the gray wash blade with the Coyote. So it's the Raptor Coyote V2. So V2 on this, really dialed in. Weird looking blade. I got to tell you, it is so useful. This is such a useful knife. There is one there. Okay, I will tell you what I think the two drawbacks of this knife are. And one of them is the flipper tab, the way doesn't it doesn't exactly fit the contour of that forward guard, sticks in my craw a little bit. It doesn't affect anything, but I'm just not crazy about that design thing. And then secondly, it's a pocket hog. It's pretty broad. It's not deep, but it's broad. But if you can get past those things, it is an outstanding knife. I've been using my Blackwash one, which I was going to compare, but there's no reason to compare. They're exactly the same knife except the colors, basically. But I've been using that one as a great Christmas present wrapping knife because that little hawk bill up front is just great for precisely cutting your. I love wrapping presents. I'm by far the best wrapper in this house, and I'm showing my daughters the way. Uh, my wife can do it when she chooses to. I bet she'd be great if she put in more practice. But I've always kind of liked it, and I'm pretty damn good at it. You know, Going to art school helped. All right, so that's what I was carrying on me. What did you guys have on you today? You guys and gal, you guys and gal. Statistically speaking, anyway. Have a Knife Day says blackout ritual blackout. Oh, nice. That's the big uh, CRKT Persian designed by Alan Foltz. That thing is so wicked looking. And Have a Knife Day, if you watch his channel, you've seen he has veft or had veft many of his knives with those big scooped serrations at an angle. Those things are just wicked. Knife Day has served with the knives and such. So I trust him and his judgment when he vefts things. He also had his custom Buck 119 with Cerakote black blade. Very nice. Brass hardware and custom Kydex sheath from Black Bear Custom Kydex. Love Buck knives, sheaths. Meh. Let me ask you this, Have a Knife Day, as one of our resident fixed blade lovers. Oof, pardon me, guys. Do you like the idea of lined Kydex sheaths, like Winkler Knives does? And I know several other people who have done that in the past. I love the concept of it. I've never made one, and I don't have one. So, what do you think of that? Just to kind of save the blade from getting all scuffed from Kydex, which is somewhat inevitable. Dion Page was carrying his Recon One Tonto. Such a nice choice. I love that. I love that knife. I carried my Recon One XL clip point this week, just as a lark. I had khakis on that had deep enough pockets. I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm carrying, and it just felt good to carry that big old sucker around. Weston said I carried the Petrified Fish Beluga and the Top Tex Creek 69 in my backpack. I love the Top Tex Creek 69. What does that refer to? Did they? I know they came out with an anniversary edition, but I have the plain Jane version. Such a great knife. That was my dedicated, outdoor extracurricular while mowing the lawn knife for quite a while. Yoda Doug, good to have you. He does collecting channel. I'll say it fully so people can go check him out. I picked up an old new stock Kershaw Talon 1420. I've been carrying. It's a Pikal style knife from the 90s. I think I remember this because I think that very early Zero Tolerance did a dressed up like an upscale version of that. Very, very early ZT. Interesting. I'm thinking that's the same. Ryan Walker carried his Raja 2. Love that. Carry for life. Now, wait. Let me reread that. Raja 2 I carry for life now. That's pretty, man, that's a pretty sweet carry right there. I remember watching Nut and Fancy videos before any of our new trusted voices were around. I remember watching Nut and Fancy videos. He would go down into Salt Lake City because he lives in Utah, and he would visit Fitzen's Knife. John Fitzen, it was a company who sharpened and made knives, and they all carried, the guys in their shop carried the Raja 2, but they serrated them and they just were wicked. That's a pretty cool everyday carry, I gotta say. Aberdeen Blades says, anyone do some last minute Christmas shopping for themselves? I ordered the Vosteed Valkyrie. Which blade? That is cool. That Valkyrie is cool. We're gonna show that off a little later. I love that thing. Both blades look cool, but I would go the more. I know the Warncliffe one looks more like a sheep's foot, and vice versa. But I'd go with the heavier one. Professor Ed says, today I carried my gorgeous Venom Jack in Lava Flow and the CKF Evo 3 blacked out. Oh man, that is a gorgeous knife, the Evo 3. God. Blade Ogre says, carried the Condor Norse Dragon Sax. Okay, so Chris, I saw that you posted something about that on, I guess it was on Instagram this weekend, that you were carrying that, and I had been walking around with mine. That is my sock drawer knife. I've been keeping my sock drawer ever since I got it, and that is a critical location in the bedroom, and so I wanted to mention that. I really love that knife, and I'm actually quite, and I like the sheath too, and I'm on the fence about staining the handle. But it's such a nice knife. Anyway, carried the Condor Norse Dragon Sax, Spyderco Yo Jumbo Sprint in S90V. So we have so far 2 warnies. The Mech Force Blue Phantom, Devo Growler, very nice. The American Service knife, the Stroop Purple Mini. That's right. That purple G10 is beautiful. The Tops Black Heat, the Manly Patriot, the Rosecraft Appalachian Jack. That is a nice looking knife. I'm not so sure about the little pry bar out the back, but that is a very nice looking knife from Rosecraft. Sorry for the sniffles. And the Tops Black Heat. What is that? Now I have to remember what that is. I've been bonding with my Tops recently. It's a brick just in my bag. Today I carried the, let's see, Never Enough Knives 007 says, today I carried the Honeybone Picklock Auto out the Lightning out the front, and the Swiss Army Knife Huntsman. I was just stropping my OC Knives thumb dagger watching Christmas Vacation. That's awesome. So Never Enough Knives 007 introduced me to OC Knives, and I believe he's in Great Britain. Is that right? But he makes all these little thumb daggers and OSS style, clandestine blades. I love the concept of you, or the picture of you stropping one of those little nasty blades whilst watching the Griswold family try to celebrate. I love that. I love that movie, Christmas Vacation. That's the only other vacation movie that I like besides the original. Christoph Wilhelm says, it always takes Chris 10 minutes to type out all of them. It's true. But that's good. He's never without adequate knifeage. Fixed blade fixation these days. No kidding, Dave. Dave has just gotten some sweet. He's got a number of Cones Craft recently, like 4, I think. My favorite is that double-edged, I can't remember what it was called, but God, that's gorgeous. Double-edged kind of combat battle dagger. So cool. Fixed blade fixation these days, not necessarily carrying, but fondling the following: Pinkerton Nomad and Razorback, along with the Conescraft Commando. That's the one I'm speaking of, I think. Also, Olight Warrior 3 and Torch. Dave, you're calling it a torch? If you call it a torch, you got me to call it a Tonto. I don't think you're going to get me to call it a torch, though. That'll take me some time. But yeah, enviable selection there. Very nice on the Nomad. I have a Razorback here on loan we're going to look at later. But after the holidays, I'm going to change it so that it's not on loan anymore. Ketmuk said, today I carried my LT Wright knives, next gen, Venom Jack, fat carbon dark matter gold, beautiful, Delica 4 in crew wear, and an Eldris. That Eldris. Okay, so when I went to get my Christmas tree a couple weeks ago, one of the guys who was working there, not the guy who was helping me with the tree on the car, but had an Eldris, and I wanted to, so is it useful, and just like chat him up about his Eldris, but it was so busy. And in suburban DC, as you can imagine, the clientele is demanding. So he didn't have time to stop and talk to me about his Eldris. But it was cool to see just out in the wild, a non-knife guy. Who knows? Maybe he's a knife guy, but just a civilian walking around with a cool knife. Nikki D. Sear said, carrying a Para 3 and the Wee Banter. Para 3 and the Wee Banter. I ordered the Civivi ODD. Nice. The Wee Hyphen. That's a nice one. And the Umnumzan feels Kidultish to me. Wait, the last comment. I'll tell you where you were being a Kidult. Aberdeen carried the Towser S and the Kubi Royal. Very nice, that Towser S. Jim, can you go back? Oh, sweet. Hang on. You got to go back too. I just have to see something real quick. And then I got to talk to Brandon. Carrying through Para, there's a okay, so here you were being a the Para 3 and the Banter, totally reasonable. Ordering the Civivi ODD and the Wee Hyphen, very Kidultish, but the Umnumzan was a mature choice because that's a generational knife. Okay, that's my 2 cents. Thank you, Jim. Now, Brandon Sutton, $2 super chat, dude. Thank you so much. He's carrying the Emerson Patriot. Nice to catch alive again. Carrying the Emerson Patriot. Here, sir. I was carrying this Emerson this week. I carried this a number of times. The P-Sark. It was on yesterday's supplemental. Also, I happen to be carrying it. But I love this thing. What a great knife. And really what made such a big difference is putting on the MXG gear clip on this one, because as you can see, they really mounted the clip very low on the handle. And that's just where the screws go. The actual pocket stopped about there. So really, once I changed that, a great thing. But the Emerson Patriot, beautiful. That's a recurve Bowie, right? So, in the name of Bowie, in the name of recurve Bowie, I will salute you, sir, with the knife that is from Scab, from Choir Boys Cutlery, and it indeed is a recurve. And that, if that's not a Bowie, it'll do till one gets here. So here's the recurve Bowie, with which I will salute you. Thank you, Brandon. Greatly appreciated for that super chat, sir. Here's to you. All right, look at that beauty. I got to get Work Tough more permanently in my life. Right now, it's a couple week foster, but man, these things are so cool, and you can kind of sense the hand work in them as well, even though they're very, very precisely, wonderfully machined and made. You can still feel the hand, the spirit of the maker. You can feel it in there, I swear. Anyway, hopefully that antihistamine kicks in here any moment. Blade Ogre says, went deep down a fixed blade rabbit hole and don't want to get out anytime soon. That's where I am, man. I am so squarely in that fixed blade rabbit hole. As you know, I've been obsessing over Bowies. I'm now now that I've been exposed to some new things, I'm like, I'm still in the fixed blade phase, but I'm willing to expand my horizons. Byron says, my only carry was an American Buffalo knife and tool cattleman cutlery stockman. Since my grandkids and I are still wrestling, nice. Final day, 2 mice, 2 dogs, 2 ducks in Florida. Byron, could you elaborate? I thought I put. I don't think I do. With the dogs and the ducks and the mice. Will B says, Bob, have you seen or handled the Bastinelli BAK? This old sort, or at this old sort blade reviews. I'm sure he has. I'm trying to remember which one the BAK is. If he had it at Blade Show, yes. And I loved it because I picked up everything on his table and diddled with it for quite a while. Weston Probe says 69 is the wilderness region in Idaho. I think that's right. That's right. That's what it is, right? And it has a commemorative handle, I believe, on that. A couple of different layers. Lone Wolf says, finally got a sold steel Black Bear sub-hilt fighter. Very nice. Should carve the Christmas tree just fine. Lone Wolf, I saw Jimmy Slash's video of that not too long ago, and I really wanted to get it. I've always wanted that knife, and that's what inspired the getting of this knife. And I thought, well, I have this knife, I should get the Black Bear Classic so I have something to compare it to. Plus, I have the OSS, and I should get it so I can compare all three. I think that that's a wonderful choice that you made, Lone Wolf. I think that the OSS is awesome. The one thing, please, Cold Steel, go back to leather. Go back to leather for some of them, not all of them, but like, I mean, for the notches, yes, leather with the studs so you can slide it into your belt. I don't need a frog or all of that. But same thing with the Black Bear. That deserves leather, I think, in my opinion. Ed Harrison, I love your work, sir. Oh, that's Ed Harris. Ed, good to have you here, sir. Can't stay, but just wanted to hit the like button and say Merry Christmas to you, Bob and Jim, and your families and everyone. Please stay safe and keep them sharp. And cheers to 2023. Peace and love from Georgia. Ed, thank you so much, man. Very Merry Christmas from Jim and myself and my family to yours. I hope you have an awesome, warm holiday with lots of family and friends. Cheers to you, and thanks for coming by and hitting the like button. Hope there are many knives under the tree, and then remember they also fit in the stocking. Blame Dexter with a creepy new avatar. How you doing, man? Good to have you here. Carrying the Venom Jack in Mars Valley, carbon fiber. Mars Valley. I think that is like this, but red, right? I think I'm turning 20 in like 2 hours. Pretty weird. Wow. Blame Dexter is turning 20 in like 2 hours, he says. Well, all right. Here's some advice. I got none, but 20, it's a big step, man. That is awesome. Not congratulations. Happy birthday to you, sir. And it's up to people like you. I mean, you are our future. So you got to make sure that all this stuff remains permissible through your generation. But anyway, I hope you have a very happy and wonderful, healthy, and prosperous 20 of it. So happy birthday, sir. And it's not that weird. It's not that weird. Turning 20 isn't weird. You know what's weird is turning 50. No, I'm just kidding. It's not weird. It's all how you feel inside. Knives to my. Good to have you here, Knives too. I carried the Benchmade Infidel. Very nice. I was just looking at that at the 511 tactical store. The Zoo Bladeworks Omega and a Masters of Defense Scorpion. Holy mackerel, Knives too. Okay, so he's got a classic in the Masters of Defense. That was I never got any of those knives. They were way out of my range when they were out, and I've always kind of pined for some of them, especially the The Keating, there was sort of a Bowie one there by Keating that I really, really liked. And Zoo Blade Works. Who has a Zoo Blade Works knife, man? I really want one of those. Um, and I would love to get one and have some sort of a handle fashioned for it. They look cool as hell without a handle, but oh man, very nice carry, sir. Knives too. Knives to my. Christoph says black on black pivot Ty Asher Spiro. Very nice. That's new, right, Christoph? Did he just not come out with that, or is that a different one I'm thinking of? The Venom Jack as well. Copper 14. Okay, copper 14,500. I'm sure that's not how it's really said. Raylight Pineapple, Leatherman PS4, and Browse BMT. Oh, okay. So everyone's mentioning their torches. And I just want to say, Dave, if you're still here, and I asked on this show probably about a year ago for a recommendation for a light. Dave gave me one, and I finally, that's going to be under the tree for me this year. I'm excited. It's 4,000 lumens. I really like the idea of blinding a sucker instead of stabbing a sucker. Instead, if you get in that sort of close, threatening situation, I've heard time and time again that a super bright light can really change. You know what it's like to get blasted in the eye with super bright light and be blinded. You don't feel confident in moving forward with any sort of attack. So I'm excited for that thing. John Smith, good to have you here, John Smith. If that indeed is your real name. Just bought a snaggletooth for my counterpoint gun sight. That is a cool knife. I had a counterpoint, and then I returned. Wait, okay. I'm interested to see if you like if I like it. Cool. So the counterpoint, I had one I got rid of. This is quite a while ago because I remember I got it and I was like, oh, I like this. And then they announced the gun sight version. I was like, I'm going to return this. I'm going to wait for the gun sight version. And then I never got it, which is unfortunate. But I love Snaggletooth products. I've had in my bag my Vaquero that I keep that on. I also keep one on the XL Chris. Brandon Sutton said the Black Heat is the harpoon knife designed with input from Marines. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Now I'm going to have to look it up. I love that though. That's yet another appealing thing about how collaborations do. Mr. Beyond the Beard, good to have you here, Mr. Beyond the Beard. Speaking of which, I mean, I got to trim, got to tidy it up. I was just looking before, and I was like, I'm starting to wolf out a little bit. Mr. Beyond the Beard says Protect TR4 operator. Those are so cool. I love the operator models. Condor mini bush lore, a Gerber dime for me today. Feeling a little naked listening to some of these lists. That's funny. You're in more than fine shape with what you got. That mini bush lore, I had the regular size bush lore, and I just recently gave it to a colleague's son who's an outdoorsman, but is sadly underknifed, and so I was happy to see that go to a good place. Ryan Walker says Spyderco Yojimbo is the only. First of all, Ryan, I'm not sure if I welcomed you. Yes, I did. Spyderco Yojimbo is the only folder I'll carry or cold steel. Medford, nope. CRKT, some. Zero tolerance, oh yeah. I really don't like a lot of gentleman knives like Rosecraft and tiny knife brands. That's interesting. Yeah, the tiny knife brands I have no issue with. It's medium-sized knives, like tiny knives I love and big knives I love. I'm talking about folders. But medium-sized, like 3-inch to or 2.5, or no, let's see, 2.75 inches to 3.25 inches is just a real it's still just an area I'm not crazy about. Later, Top Splat Heat has a beautiful black and red handle and has a harpoon blade shape. The topper was that the holes on the side let you tie the knife to a stick to make a fast spear. Oh yeah. I love that. I love lanyard holes up by the guard so you can make D rings or whatever it is. Keep that knife right on you. Torch was less characters than flashlight since I was running over. Oh, that's pretty good. That's actually good. Good. Well, that's a good reason, I guess. Also had to, but torch is something I'm trying to work in. Also had to buy the Tops El Chete after wanting it for years, but never seeing it available for sale until now. That is a pretty badass knife. And from what I hear, Chris, you're quite the ample size, and it seems like the El Chete would be perfect for someone who's big. Seems like a big knife. Um, I have had my eye on ever since this knife I'm about to show you. I've been looking more at that big Tops sax. That thing looks cool. Can never remember what it's called though. K Mason says, has anyone tried the Tops Sparrow or Crowhawk? No, they have so many models. That's one thing I really admire about them. That Sparrow is a nice little knife though. I know which one you're talking about. They have so many models and so many of them they're making all the time. I'm so sorry, guys. CPM says limited edition ZT606 CF today. 606? What the hell is that? I thought it belonged to Emerald, like the Sturdy. What is the 606? I need to know. John Smith says someone needs to make deep carry or aftermarket pocket clips for cold steel. Someone does, John. Someone help if you know. Here's the thing: they have so many different knife models, and the clips are kind of different from model to model. So there would be a lot of different clips to make, but be a lot of clips you could sell. I think that's a pretty good idea. But who, Uncle Something's? It's on Etsy. If you go to Etsy and you search deep carry cold steel, I think they make one for the Recon one and one for the Voyager medium. I don't remember, but if you go to Etsy and search, you'll be able to find them there. And I think their name is like Uncle something something or something like that. Is that helpful? Uncle something something. Happy Haptics. Good to see you here. Happy Haptics EDC. What's good, Bobby and friends? Well, Thursday. Carrying my Norcy for the holidays to slash open gifts for folks. It's also an impressive knife to consider. You're talking about your Norseman. What an impressive knife to pull out to unbox with. We'll also have my GBG mighty pouch with the rest of my holiday. Nice. Low ho ho ode out. Oh, I got it. Low ho hoed out. All right, so that's good. I like that. What was I gonna say? Oh, I think my official unboxing knife will be Orion knife. I think it's going to be this because of that tip. This will get underneath all of those annoying little thin plastic straps that bind kids' toys to packaging. And my youngest is still getting toys, so this will work perfectly for that. Dave said, speaking of more fixies, Bastinelli Apocalypse arriving tomorrow. Haven't handled or seen the BAK, by the way. What is the Apocalypse? Oh, that's the sax. Oh, that is a sweet one. That is a sweet one. I like that knife. Will B says, I had the Grimsmo Norseman, the Concept Preta 2. I'm familiar with that one. The Kaiser Begleiter XL, the Civivi Chevalier, and the Olight Baton 3 i5 T Plus, and the Karis Bolt V2. The the Kaiser Begleiter XL. I have to get one back into my life. I'm such a good guy. I very generously gave one to my brother when he was in the hospital getting his gallbladder removed. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Well, he was in the hospital over Thanksgiving. I'm like, here, Vic, you need a knife. And he took it. He was supposed to say, no, Bob, I couldn't possibly. And then I was supposed to put it back in my pocket. But he's like, thanks, Bob. Christoph Wilhelm said, I turned 30 years ago. Here, Christoph. I mean, I turned 30 years ago. Me too. 31 years ago, brother. Blame Dexter says, thank you. New avatar is Darth Malak. He challenged his master to a duel and lost. Damn. So he's got a bionic jaw. That's pretty cool. See, I have not gone down the Star Wars rabbit hole. It just gets ever wider. My wife is way more into sci-fi and 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 long form narratives of all sorts, especially if they're sci-fi or historical. And and I admire her for that. Christoph Wilhelm says, "You blind them first, then you stab them." That's right. They're like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And then, yeah. Uh, Mac Colas, Colles. Mac, good to have you here, sir. I don't recognize your name, and it's great to see you. Craig Brown Cortex, and a Para 3 lightweight in M4 today. Very nice, Craig. I mean, Mac, you had the Craig Brown Cortex. That's pretty sweet. See, we got some classy individuals here. Brandon Sutton says, "How's everything doing with the weather?" Well, here it's raining, pouring, but oddly warming. So hopefully by tomorrow, there's something on the road that stops me from going to work. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want that to happen. James Moore, good to have you here, James. Hey, everyone. Got my new Arius with me. Marbled carbon fiber dust CF. Marbled carbon fiber dust. I'm sorry. Marbled copper dust carbon fiber. Waiting for the mini Arius. That sounds beautiful. Man, James Moore always has the most refined carry, man. Arius, I'd love to have Arius. I really would. Popo's clips for Cold Steel, says Dave. Thank you, Dave. Popo's clips. Check this sucker out. This came to me from Scab. This is on loan. He very generously sent me this and another one we're going to take a look at. But this one is called the Drenger. The Drenger. Drengr. Like, that's my berserker name, Drenger. You know, when I drink that stuff and I get all riled up and I go on raids, I just tell all the guys, I'm not Bob right now. I'm Drenger. And this is what I carry. Look at this thing. This thing is absurdly wicked. Very cool sheath. This is a great solution for such a blade shape. It just pops out the top. I like these little flared nubbins here, and then you've got an IWB IWB strap here to hold it in, and boom, just pops out. I am totally in love with this knife. I love it. It is a chunker. It is about 1/4 inch. It is a slab. No fuller to lighten it, no swedge to lighten it, and it is the perfect size for those circumstances. For a full weight knife like that, this is like the perfect size. I love it. It feels really good in hand. This handle is fully contoured and very nice. It reminds me a little bit of it feels a little bit like a Becker handle, a little bit. Very, very sweet. What is this? SK85 steel. I'm not even sure what kind of steel that is. SK85. What is that? Like a tool steel, high kind steel. You can see Scab just really put this through its paces. All I've done is cut a bottle with it. I've had it for 2 weeks now. I'd like to have it for one more week. So when the weather clears up and we have a nice weekend day, I can go out and thump on it. He really wants me to thump on it, and I really want to oblige him. But look at how this thing fits in hand. Just sweet. Work Tough gear. Anyone out there have the Work Tough gear? Any of these Work Tough gears? Just wickedly cool. And they just keep coming out with more of them. But they're small batch. You know, like, I'd love to have one of those large Pouzon Bowies, but I don't know if they'll ever make them. I'm sure they'll make them again, but am I sure? This is just a great knife. So I don't know if they make this anymore. I don't think so, because it's hard to find anything on the internet about this knife in particular. But it feels like if you had to work all day cutting and chopping stuff, this would be the ideal knife. It feels so good in hand. KC, hey Bob, checking in for a few. How's it going? Hey everybody. Hey, I got to tell you something, KC. I did my midweek supplemental podcast was yesterday, and I talked about my 15 favorite knives from this past year, and the Pinion was on it. They weren't necessarily knives that came out this past year, though I would say 85% of them were. but they were purchases from this past year and, knives that I love the most. And the Pinion was on that list. So for what that's from an off. Welcome, Casey. Christoph says, yes, Bob, the latest evolution of the Thai Spiro, and what an Evo it is. Oh, what an evolution it is. Full stonewash and bayonet clip. It's amazing. Oh, that sounds awesome. Okay, so I had on loan the very, very first iteration of the Spiro. That sounds awesome, man. I think I need an Asher knife. I think I should get one. The only thing I haven't, just to wrap this one up, the only thing I haven't figured out is if I had this, is how I would carry it. I think the one and only real option is a tech lock and then mount this horizontally, and which is cool. That's how the Vikings carried their knives anyway. Their scramma sacks and their sacks was usually horizontal on the back or on the front. I think the scramma sacks was usually on the front because it was bigger. Next up, this thing is so awesome. Oh, I showed it off already. Okay, so here is the Famine by Work Tough Gear, also on loan. Very different kind of handle. It's got that horse hoof chopping handle. I call it a horse hoof. It looks a little bit like a horse hoof. You've got this up sweep here that's really good for arresting the motion of your chop right here on the muscly part of your palm. And then that's great for holding it in your hand. This is just such a great looking knife. And wicked to boot, so sharp, thick, but also well balanced. It's sort of heavy, but also very nicely balanced in hand. This is a real bummer. Well, not a bummer, but look, she's absurd. But that being said, they do allow you to shape it how you want it. I mean, you could cut it down here and contour it much closer, and then burnish the sides and stuff. But just the audacious big giant size of this sheath is kind of a turn off. But other than that, I am smitten with these two knives, especially the Drenger. The Drenger is just so cool, though. This, oh my gosh, I mean, like, to me, this is very intimidating. The Drenger just is a great knife, great work knife, but this one is scary to look at, and it's called the Famine. That's kind of dark, right? And it's got like some sort of skull with crossed swords, and yeah, it doesn't paint a very happy picture. It's not happy. This is like kind of a scary knife. So the sheath, kind of a bummer. Fits great, and if you're not carrying it, which I wouldn't be carrying it, I guess it's not a big deal. Nomadic Adventure says, "Hey Bob and Jim, well, it's great to have you here. Been snowed in on a damn mountain. Not even the 4x4. Holy mackerel. We'll build. Oh, wait, I say, not even the 4x4 we built made through that snow. Oh, I got you, man. Hey, everybody, emotional support knife day. No kidding. Well, Nomadic Adventure, what do you have keeping you emotionally supported while being snowed in? You're snowbound, sir. How are you keeping your Will B says, Bob, you should be familiar with that Preta 2 since it's the one I bought from you. Yeah, that was yeah, exactly. And I was just talking about that because the Preta 2 made the same list as the Pinion, and I talked about selling the other one to you and how I didn't regret it, but what a perfectly cherry knife that was. It's like the coffee makes my throat dry, so I drink more coffee to wet it, and then it makes me drier. KC says, had the TPK Penguin Plus, the Tempest Microburst. Oh, that's your new knife. I'm like, what is that? That sounds familiar. And the Hoback Goliath today. That Goliath is cool. The Tempest Microburst, I'm excited to check that out. What's the TPK Penguin Plus? Traditional pocket knives of Penguin. That's the jigged one, I think, with the jigged titanium. Christoph says the Apocalypse is still the one I want. Yeah, that is cool. And it comes in 2 sizes, I believe. I would love to get that. Oddly expensive compared to some of the other fixed blade Bastinellis. Christoph says the Drenger is the sickest chopper. It is. It is just so it yeah, it is. It is, and it's so comfortable in hand. The handle is so refined. And if you didn't see, the handle on this one is actually a burlap micarta. Feels really nice. Drenger, yeah, it's so funny, man. When offers to get knife loans, and I take them up, and then I have them, and I'm like, maybe they're loaning this because they want to sell it to me. And then I'm like, don't get your hopes up. That's ridiculous. Like, I would love it if Scab was like, oh, don't bother sending the Drenger. Just send me, $200 or whatever it would be. And I'd be like, okay. But that's just something I think about when I should be doing other things. That's called a pipe dream. Max said, so damn cold here in Wisconsin. Sorry for that. The actual temperature is -13, but feels like -36 with the wind chill. Holy crap. I'm just hoping I don't have to go to work tomorrow. No kidding, man. In 1996, I was living in Philadelphia, and there was a blizzard that hit that city so badly. I think Philly got it worse than anyone else. We got like 36 inches or something insane. The whole city was shut down except the cafe I worked in, because it was a little cafe that just was a very local little spot. And but I was like a 25-minute walk on a good day away from there, and I still had to come into work on the one day that no one in 1996 was working in Philadelphia but me. And also no one was drinking coffee out. They were drinking coffee at home, so I walked all that way through the driving snow uphill both ways to serve coffee to a bunch of ingrates who didn't want it. Nomadic Adventure says, in my opinion, learn a lot about a knife by the yeah, by the sheathing system itself or various options for carrying. I didn't. He's a dude I've been following recently. He loves big knives. Nice guy. Nice guy. I mean, I think. And he was talking about how he just got a new work tough gear. I can't remember which model. Oh, the Amish John. And he was talking about how they come with little attachments so you can like little D-ring attachments so you can sling them over your shoulder. And this slung over the shoulder would be way better than on your pants. Pulling your pants down. It's just too heavy. Max says, I'm just starting to get into larger knives. Right now, my largest is the Bark River Aurora. Oh, cool. Bark River. Man, that's a great place to start for large knives because their knives are all awesome. And the Aurora, that's a pretty, what is that, like a 5-inch blade? So with Great Eastern or with Bark River, you can go larger and you'll be psyched. This is a nice big one right here. What is this? The Shining Mountain Bowie. I know they just recently did a release of that. You might even be able to find it if you have the compunction. Though at this point, I'm sure it's just the very expensive versions with the expensive handle materials that are left. Dion says it's 6 inches with a real feel 26 degree. Oh, negative. Okay. It's -6 degrees with a real feel, quote unquote, of -26 here in Wisconsin. Cold is -50 or more. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, when you're cold, it's -50 or more. The kind of cold that freezes the snot inside your nose before it can drip. Keep your steel dry and warm. Holy mackerel! That's the kind of weather that you want a full micarta handle in. Because anything else, you're gonna freeze your hands off. Max says, I also really love the ultralight Bushcrafter, a Bushcrafter and Aurora Scandi from them. But I'd like to get an actual large knife, maybe a clip point of some kind. Any suggestions? Oh, Mac. Oh, Mac. Here, you know what? Actually, I suggest this knife a lot for first time fixed blade knife or larger fixed blade knife owners or wanters is, and it might sound pedestrian, but it is awesome. Just to ask like generations of people, but get a USMC K bar. Get a K-bar with the stacked leather handle and and the leather sheath in brown, preferably, though they make it in black with rubberized handle or plastic handles and stuff. But I would get the traditional classic K-bar with the stacked leather handle, like I said, and that's 1095 Crovan steel. They're stout, sturdy, clip point blades, 7-inch blades. They'll keep you in good stead for whatever you need it for. But it's also a slice of history, and it's an all-American knife. It's a slice of American history. Yeah, it's still used. Created in World War II, still issued today. Um, take and go from there. Then you might, I really like this big knife thing, and I want to dump money into it. Like, for instance, if you go to Chicago Knife Works, you can get a Wild West Bowie from Cold Steel for some $85 or $82, something much cheaper than anywhere else I've been able to find it. But so this is a big 10.5-inch bladed 1090 blade here. So you don't have to go into the 300s like a big giant Dark River. You can do a lot. It's a wide open world of fixed blades for you, sir. But yeah, I would say start with a K-bar. Dwayne Letterman, good to have you here, Dwayne. What up, Bob? KC, evening all, he says. Evening to you, Dwayne. Hero Sticks. Good to have you, Hero. Good to have you here, Hero. I just took your box yesterday. I'm sorry it's taken me so long. Crammed it in another box exactly that shape. Put the correct address on it, and it is on the wing to you. Also, if Mr. VC is watching, I got something in the mail to him. If Jock is watching, got something in the mail to him. I got Skookum Dangers knives. I did a big post office run yesterday. Got a whole bunch of stuff out, but I did not send tracking. I will do that tomorrow. Realistically, I'm not doing it tonight. But thank you one and all for those loans. Nomadic Adventures says, at the moment, a bushcraft model sliced a damn finger off. Wow. A bit larger, yet through 5 layers of clothes. Oh my God. A bit large, yet get through 5. Not done. But I mean, well, I shouldn't say. I was going to say we've all done that, but I have not removed a finger. I've removed chunks. Tyler Man J. I'm going to say Tyler Man J. Good to have you here, Tyler Man. What was your first knife you paid for with your own money? I think it was okay, I'll tell you the first knife that I paid for with my own money that I still have is my old Cold Steel Master Tanto, still by the bed after all these years. And this was a long time ago, Tyler. I mean, we're talking late 80s. I got that. That was $115 at the Randall Park Mall, which is long been bulldozered over. But I remember just being like, I can't believe I'm spending this money on a knife. My parents find out, they're going to fucking kill me. But I still have that. But I think the first knife I paid for with my own money wasn't that. It was there was a brand, I don't know if it's still around, I don't think so, called Explorer, and they were out of Japan. I think when Japan was making cheap stuff. And it was a Rambo style hollow handle, long sawback fixed blade with a leather sheath or a pleather sheath with the stone. It was a big survival knife. It was Rambo times, and Rambo and Commando and Predator. So I was all about the first good knife I spent my money on was that Cold Steel Master Tanto that I still have. Tanto, I mean, but the first one was that big Explorer survival knife, which hopefully my cousin still has. I gave it to my cousin a long time ago. EDC Neo, good to have you here, sir. EDC NEO. I'm going to say Neo. EDC Neo. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Hey, everyone. Kaiser Guy checking in. Just heard Bob talked about his Beglider XL present. Greetings from China, and hope you guys have a fun holiday season. You're all the way from China. Thank you so much for commenting and jumping in. That is awesome. Well, happy holidays to you, and I hope you have an awesome winter over there in China. And I love what you're doing. Love what you do. And man, I'm so glad it was the Begleiter XL that I got to give to my brother because he is a knife junkie. He doesn't have a collection like mine. And when I can introduce him to something sweet and a new brand, he does not have any Kaisers. That's always exciting. So thank you for chiming in, sir. Mr. Greg T, good to have you here, Mr. Greg T. Were you barefoot like my parents used to walk to school? Yeah, it was terrible, man. I wasn't barefoot. I took some rags. I took some sackcloth from the pantry and wrapped it around my feet. Matt Collins says, that's a beauty of a Bowie. Indeed, sir. FEMA camp etiquette for dummies. What is your most murdery looking knife? I don't know, man. Give me a minute to think about it. I don't think it's right here with me. Pretty much all of these look pretty murdery, but I know what you mean. Like, which is the one that is the most like would be the least? You know what? I think it might be my JB knife and tool ditch pick double edge. It just looks like it looks like a glorified shiv. It looks like a murder weapon. It really does. Uh, so I would say that. I would say the JB knife and tool, and it's too bad I don't have it here to refresh your memory of what it looks like if you're not familiar, but it's pretty sweet. Dissentient 01, good to have you here, Dissentient. The Bark River Crusader. I'm not sure I remember which one is the Crusader, but now that we're talking Bark River, they make the ruffian, the rogue, the highwayman. I want the highwayman. That is a badass knife. John Smith says, I usually EDC a 6-inch tie light. Good choice. I got an amazing deal on the G10 S35 version, but I'm too scared of messing up the DLC. So I carry the OS 8 version. Well, okay, that's reasonable. The OS 8, they do awesome with their OS 8. That will be all you need. But when you do night ops and light discipline and all that, then you'll carry the other one with the DLC. And then if it happens, it happens. Have a Knife Day says, do they have the Red Spacer K-Bar USMC available? They do have that. You're saying, do they have? Yeah, I was just gonna say we just did a piece on that not too long ago. Has a larger guard and some unique things about it. Also, if you can't wait, there's the dog's head version. If you don't want USMC stamped on it, the dog's head version has that was, I think, the first Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife. But I've had that in my cart on Amazon forever. I really want that knife, and I just haven't gotten it. But the Red Spacer one, that is cool with the thick guard and the slightly differently shaped handle. It looks kind of like a case K-bar handle. Very nice. I had no idea Cold Steel made so many awesome fixed blades until I started watching your channel. Oh, well, Mac, I'm glad that I could be your gateway. Yeah, that's Cold Steel's métier, are these freaking incredible fixed blade knives, and then their swords, and they farm out the work to like a lot of the knives, like some of these bigger yet less expensive knives like this one are really well made by Windlass Cutlery out of India, and I've been following them for a long time. Windlass Cutlery, I think, cut their teeth doing historical reproductions, but they kind of went the battle ready route instead of just wall hangers. So it's really well made. Compunction, that would be a good name for a knife. The Cold Steel Compunction, make it happen. You know what, FEMA Camp for Etiquette? I agree. It would be a good knife, but it would be a CRKT or Kershaw knife name because they have the worst names. Yeah. But let's make this happen. It won't have anything to do with the name. It'll just be like a big, I don't know, a recurve Tonto with serrations. Dale, good to have you here, Dale Gerstel. SoCal forecast, partly sunny, 65. Dale just came in from surfing, guys, and later he'll be cruising for chicks in his convertible from the 70s that hasn't rusted yet, because he's in sunny Southern California. 70% chance of mudslides, possible brush fires in low desert areas, followed by Santa Ana winds, 75% chance of earthquakes through the Okay, Dale, I take it all back. I am sorry. I thought you were getting at something else, because it is so beautiful out there. But man, it's tough all over. If you're not buried in snow, you know, you're worried about earthquakes. So, well, God love you, man. Keep safe. Nomadic Adventures says one thing is for sure: the DeMarco family knife collection is amazing. Did not actually take my finger yet. Can remove a finger flick of the wrist. I got you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad it didn't take your. I'm glad, because that's one of those. I still have little areas on my fingers. Like I have a dead spot now from my latest cut, but the thing has gone away. It's misshapen my finger. If I look at it from a certain angle, it's flat. EDC Neo says, thank you, Bob. I have a Rambo and Commando action figure just in front of my desk. Awesome. Who do you like better, Rambo or John Matrix? Working from home because I it's just sorry, sick, man. I hope it is a light version that passes quickly. That sucks. But I'm glad that you have a space to work from home, and I'm glad that you have John Rambo and John Matrix, two of our finest American heroes, watching over you. And just not for nothing, of course, I pick Rambo. His character is much deeper, but the movie Commando always just held such a place in my heart, because when it came out, I was the same age as Alyssa Milano, and before she became an annoying hag, she was actually a very, very cute young actress on Who's the Boss and Commando, and I had a crush on her back in the day. And then you get to see Arnold Schwarzenegger festooned with knives and guns in that 4-barrel bazooka. I was like, this is a 12-year-old boy's dream. And I guess I haven't outgrown it yet. Except I have outgrown Alyssa Milano. Hero Stick says, no worries on the box, brother. I'm going to pull the trigger on a few pieces from Station 9. Cool. And we'll drop ship them to you. Would love your perspective. Well, thank you. That's awesome. I'd love to check them out. I have their Nux right here, which I need to, I just saw someone else on Instagram has wrapped it with a flattened paracord. I think I'm going to do that just to make it a little more comfortable. And then I also have this, I think it's the number 4. So cool. I love this stuff. Clandestine. I just like saying the word, actually. Clandestine and espionage. I love saying the word espionage. Espionage. Oh, geez, we got to give away a knife. All right, Christoph Wilhelm. Murdery. Yeah, that's true. Elegantly murdery would be the Bastinelli way to go. KF Boston, good to see you here. Hey, everybody, happy holidays. Well, happy holidays to you, sir. Let's do this right now. Let's move this along to the. Oh, actually, before we do, I do want to show off this thing. Max the Maker. I'm not sure if you're with us tonight, Max, but a few weeks ago, he sent me a cool picture that he's like, I want you to show this on Thursday Night Knives. And I was like, we don't have it for 2 weeks. I'll put it up on the next Thursday Night Knives. So I want to show you this. Max the Maker. We all know Max, good friend of the show. Frequently comments and talks about the cool things he does with his knives, which I appreciate. But here is a picture he sent of knives in the wild. And I don't know if you can see this, but look at that GEC. See the GEC? Look at that very special pedestal it sits atop. Yes, it is on a DeMarco dice pick. That's right. Max the Maker has one of my dice picks from last year, I guess. And he wanted to show a picture of it out in the wild. So I do appreciate it. Beautiful picture and nice loadout. I like the color coordination. I have a feeling, well, you got everything matching except for that slip joint, but I think the slip joint is like a red bone. So it's all in that red family. So beautifully done, Max. Thanks for sending the picture. I really do appreciate it. Nice everyday carry there. All right. And anyway, new patron, John. I'm just going to say his first name because I'm not sure if I have permission to say his last. But John, thank you so much for joining as a Gentleman Junkie and being a part of this. Your name has been added to the list, and the list is added to the wheel, and the wheel is spun, and wherever it stops, that's the person who gets this month's Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. And I have not been pawing it. You can tell from the micarta. I have been taking it out to show it off on the shows, but here it is. This is the QSP Locust, courtesy of Dave from This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Thank you, Dave, so much for donating this to the channel. What a cool knife to be given away. That is a 14C28. I'm sorry, I always do this. That's a VG10 blade. Beautiful Warncliffe blade with a nearly 4-inch, what is that, 3.75-inch blade and cutting edge. You have an opening hole that works to great effect. You have the flipper tab and a beautiful canvas micarta handle with a shape evocative of its name, the locust. It looks like the thorax of a locust. You got the segments sort of hinted at with the milling, and also you got this weird flip up here, which is actually quite ergonomic, fits right, nestles right in this little pocket, and fits the hand really nicely, but also looks like a locust. So this is the knife we're giving away. Awesome act, instant velvet, and has a little spec card and all that. Magnetic box. All right, let's do this. Jim, actually, could you bring up the list of the Gentleman Junkie patrons so I can read their names off and thank them? Thank you one and all for being patrons, but not just the Gentleman Junkies and not just patrons. Thank you everyone for watching and for being a part of this. But to you, Gentleman Junkies, 9198 David, Ben Belkin, Byron Kennedy, Caleb Townsend, Cam Michael, Colin Maison Pierre, Edwin Callow, Ezekiel Yates, Francis Valaire, Gordon Tillman, Grim Reaper, Hero Sticks, Izzy, that's Skookum Danger, Jay McConnell, Jared Strasbaugh, Jesse Tellis, we got Jock, we got John, we got Kay Mason, Kevin Moore, Kevin Seastrom, Larry Elizondo, Martin Gamboa, Never Enough Knives 007, On the Edge 72, Scott Nelson, Sean Curry, Timothy Becker, Tom Kim, Will Boyer, Yvel Peleg, Zachary Roberts, and Zach Williams. Thank you, gentlemen, one and all. It is so greatly appreciated. And ladies and gentlemen, if I broaden it out to all the patrons, thank you so much. Your support is much appreciated. All right, Jim, let's bring up the wheel and spin it and find out who wins. Of course, this being Christmas weekend, I will not be sending this out until next week, unless I can make it tomorrow, but that is doubtable. All right. We're going to bring the win, randomly choose who it is who gets this lovely, lovely knife. All right, Jim, let's spin in 3, 2, and 1. All right, we hear that electronic sound as it spins. $91.98 David. Very nice, sir. $91.98 David. It was right on the line, man. Zach Williams, almost. We'll try again next month. $98.98 David. Thank you so much for your support. This QSP Locust is yours and will be coming your way. I'll try and get it in the mail tomorrow, but if not, sorry, it'll have to be Monday of next week. All right, going back in the box. Nice velvet box. Okay, putting that aside. Here's another cool thing. Next week, I'm going to be giving away one of these. Jimmy Slash sent this. I just got this. Didn't even have time to alert Jim to this. But this is the, that's right, Hollywood Tactical. Thank you, sir. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. This is the discontinued Cold Steel Con, a unique 3-inch EDC Tonto from Cold Steel with the Triad lock and AUS 8 flat ground Tonto, very aggressive, great EDC knife. I had one of these, gave it to a guy I work with years ago, and he still has and loves it. And and, and I asked him, and here Jimmy Slash sends me one for me and then one for giveaway. So Jimmy has like a library of knives, not even a collection. He's got like a no, like a storeroom. It's just like, oh, you regret giving away the Cold Steel Con? Hang on, I got one for you and one for your viewers. So next week we'll give away the one of these. This one is mine. I have not pulled yours out of the box and won't, but I'll show this off. This is a very cool knife. I really do like this, and I like this weird thing they did here with the thumb stud. It works. It works well. And am I being a kidult? Am I being a kidult in this pursuit? All right, let's take a look at our chat here, and we can chat along the way. So, only 34 likes. KF Boston says, "I agree. I agree. I don't know how many people are watching, but there's a number of people, presumably, who are just sitting here torturing themselves. I can't stand this guy. Why am I sitting here watching this? I don't like it at all. That is why I have not hit like. And yet I still come here and I still do this to myself. I don't know why you do it, but I'm fine with it. Maybe you'll get used to my voice and then you'll grow to love it. Nomadic Adventure says, "Happy holidays, everyone. Movie night with future wife. Bye." Hey, man, that takes precedence. Enjoy movie night with the future wife. Uh, stay warm. Snuggle up. That too. That's the only good reason. Also, I remember once telling me the only good reason to be late to work is if you get in it. And I won't tell you what he said, but I was like, I kind of agree with you, even though everything else you say I don't agree with. I kind of agree with that. Will be the Locust is a good looking one. I agree, it is, and it's I like how it looks like its namesake. Something else that looks like its namesake. How's that? Is this? I showed it a little bit, but this is the Wild West Bowie by Cold Steel. Oh my gosh. I do love this knife. I knew I would. It's very much like the W49 I have, but of course it's an updated version. The W49 I have, the Western, well, it's right here, is from 1980. And oh, that wasn't very smooth. Very similar knife. But just kind of smaller in all dimensions than the Cold Steel. Uh, this is a style of Bowie that I've always liked, and I think Western was the company that really codified this pattern, if that's the right term. But we've seen a lot of people pick it up and use it, and it's very similar to what the Marine Raider Bowie was, and I think that's what this grew out of. So that's what this is. This is the Wild West Bowie. This is also made in India by Windlass or Steelcraft, whatever they're called. That Windlass, they make some really good stuff, and very nice welt leather sheath here, stout with the strap on the correct side, on the spine side, and Cold Steel emblazoned in there. But what a great thing! This is a rosewood handle, is what they say, and then they feel the need to stain it rose. You don't need to do that. Just put a little oil on it. That'll bring the natural rose color out of it, and then anything else, I don't need you to fake it for me. They did that also with the 1917 Frontier Bowie. Nice big S guard in brass. That's 1090 blade steel. 1090 tough high carbon blade steel, and just a great thing. And it's now a part of my collection. And I think now at last, and I said this about the Natchez, but now I mean it. I think now I think I've scratched my Bowie itch for a little while. For a little while. That's not to say that if some great thing comes along out of the blue, that I'm not going to just jump on it. So, okay, Bowies, interesting. One of the things that I like about them is their American heritage. They're uniquely American. That's not to say that clip point blades haven't shown up throughout history long before the Bowie knife. But, in the United States, the Bowie was the knife that was created here. Other one, this is an American knife, but it looks like it could be from many other eras and places. And I'm not sure if eras is the plural of era, but here it is. So this is the Arkansas toothpick. An classic American design that Cold Steel is now making. Again, this is an Indian-made knife, and that is very different from a Pakistan-made knife, by the way. But this is an Indian-made knife from Windlass Knife Bladecraft again, and it is a classic American knife. The Arkansas toothpick is a long double-edged knife with a triangular blade, meaning it's not a bellied dagger style blade. It's more of a triangular dagger. You see these, a lot of people, a lot of different companies through the day made them. Randall has a model of this. It's big and ridiculous. Costs you big and ridiculous money to find one and get one. And then a lot of other historical examples of this, but this is not something we see too commonly. The Arkansas toothpick, it's kind of like a short sword. It's a little bit like a medieval implement to me. Now, I love the ball quillions here. And I wish Cold Steel would make a Bowie with the ball quillions. I would come out of Bowie retirement for that. Boy, my fool. But this, brother, I'm not putting it in and out of the sheath because I know how it's this blade is as pristine as it will be until he puts it in and out of the sheath, and I know that's going to scratch up the blade a little bit. Interesting balance on this. This thing is big. It's got a 13-inch blade, but the balance is very nicely right. Well, I guess it's just a little bit north of the guard. And all this weight back here, all the weight in the pommel and the guard, makes the blade itself and the tip very lively. I mean, you can move this around, unlike a chopper that's weighted much towards the front. This is weighted towards the back like a sword, and so you can move it around really nicely to the point where I think, just for the sake of historical completeness and variety, I think I might have to get one of these and put it in with the Bowies so that it's like, yeah, Bowie, but don't forget this other great American knife. And then you have the Cold Steel Arkansas toothpick. It has an annoying carved motif in it of an alligator that has no tail. It does not look good. I think it looks kind of stupid, personally. But there you go. See that alligator? And that's also on the sheath. But where the hell is its tail? I see a tiny little stub coming out. It almost looks like a no tail. Other than that pick by Cold Steel. We just saw Jimmy Slash last week cut up a watermelon with one of these. It's going back and forth, slice. A weird thing about this knife, I forgot to mention, is that when I did a paper test as soon as I got it, and I was like, oh my God, they shipped me a dull knife. And it starts to get real sharp right about here. And then here down, like right here at the ricasso, dull, like dull. And then edge starts right about here. Paper cutting edge starts right about here. That's about 40% up the blade. Now, this being sword-like, a lot of swords are like that. They don't, they sharpen more towards the tip for slashing and thrusting and that kind of thing. But a lot of swords are not intended to be cutters right in this area. They're meant to deflect and do that kind of thing. So I thought maybe, oh, well, this comes from a sword maker. But I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like this should be sharpened here, but it's not. So um, there's a bit of steel to remove to make it sharp. I mean, you can see that. You would need a grinder. I can't just take this to the sharp maker. But anyway, this is the Arkansas toothpick. You got something in your teeth? Make sure you get it with this. Christmas won't be on Christmas. All right, next up, this is cool. EDC Neo says, oh wait, can you go back? It is said that the actor in Violent Night looks like Dave from Knife Center. That's funny. Yeah, he's the guy from Stranger Things, right? And then I saw, yeah, Shane. How you doing, Shane? I love your new logo, man. Very cool new logo with the eagle with blades, Spyderco blades for wings and tail feathers. Very cool. Also on loan to me. Now, I'm not even sure who this is on loan from. This came from KC of Knives Fast. He sent this over to Scab, Choir Boys, Cutlery, and then Scab sent me his 2 knives and this. So I'm not sure where I'm sending this next, but this is really a badass. This is the Hoback PS 35 or Psalm 35 axe. And I'm going to put it down here. And Psalm 35, I did have to look it up. I'm not a biblical scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a prayer against unjust enemies. And it is beautiful. It is a beautiful read. I think it's got like 30 lines or something like that. And as you know, Jake Hoback is a guy who quotes the Bible a lot in his work and publicity and stuff. And so I think it's kind of cool that he just the what? I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now, and this says PS2. PS2. Where did I get PS35? I guess he's got another one called the PS35 because I looked it up and I saw something that looked exactly like this. Oh well. It was a good story. I don't know what Psalm 2 is. So any of you out there who know your Bible or your Psalms, at least, let me know. But this thing is wicked. I mean, this has like an actual sharp cutting edge here and here. And that tip is very, very pointed. I mean, you could pop tires with that. You could break glass with that. You could go through a helmet with that. You could do a lot with that spike. Bob wants to be the Bowie King and is earning it. The Bowie King. That's right. I'll take the cheap Bowies. I could take a $25 Bowie. I could take a $1,000 custom Bowie. It does not matter. Yeah, I like that Bowie King. But look at this thing. And down here, it's got a very sharp portion and on the beard. And then this is a swedge here that thins it out for stabbing, if you're like downward stabbing with this. So just a very intimidating weapon. Look at this. Like this to me is 100% weapon. It's light. I mean, it'll move easily and you can recover very quickly from a swing. It's very light, especially for holding tomahawk to light. But the whole blade and spike setup, it just says weapon to me, definitely not utility. But I love this thing. Okay, so this is the Psalm 2. I'm going to have to find out what that is. Jim, can you go back to Have a Knife Day right before? Max says, wow, that's a pretty sweet axe. I actually started collecting axes before I started collecting knives. Most old American stuff and some Granfords and Holtz Brooks. Cold Steel actually makes some nice axes as well, especially for the price. Yeah, I have a couple of their tomahawks. I understand their axe gang axe is really good for throwing. Have a Knife Day said on the Arkansas toothpick, the half horse, half gator is has a historical. Oh, that's supposed to be half horse. Okay. So Have a Knife Day is saying, I guess you could see that if you look at, okay, looking at the legs, I guess maybe here. Let me see if the knife cam will pick this up. But yeah, he's saying that motif there with the alligator, that's not just an alligator. That's supposed to be an alligator and a horse, and that would explain the lack of tail, or at least the very small tail. Interesting story, and interesting little bit of knowledge. However, I'm still not crazy about it. Um, um, it's it's not a deal breaker. Hollywood Tactical says it's an Americanized Tonto axe. Yeah, it really does have that effect, doesn't it? An Americanized Tonto axe. It is pretty cool. I do like it. The Hunters of Kentucky, also called the Battle of New Orleans, and Half Horse and Half Alligator, was a song written to commemorate Andrew Jackson's victory over the British at at Battle of New Orleans in both 1824 and 1828. Jackson used the song as his campaign song during his presidential campaigns. How cool! That's so cool, man. Nothing changes. I mean, things change. So the more they change, the more they stay the same. It's like, who was it? Bill Clinton, who used "We Won't Be Fooled Again," and they all choose songs. "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow" was a big one. I don't remember who that was. Uh, with their campaign songs. Frankly, the whole lot of them nauseate me. Sorry, I just dropped my phone and I don't want to roll over it and break it, because then I would have to get profane. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Frankly, a lot of them nauseate me, except for the ones who can be swayed by the great and powerful Doug Ritter. FEMA Camp for Etiquettes, or FEMA Etiquette for Dummies says the Matthew 5:30 verse on the Hoback hatchet is my favorite one yet. What does that say? I know my screen went black. I have another cool one to show you. It's a fixie. Have a Nice Day says, I do believe that it should have a horse front and a gator backside. Oh man, I don't know what it is. It's like some critter. It's some critter. Uh, Remember that song? They fired their guns and the English kept coming. Oh yeah. Yeah, the British kept coming. I think I heard that. I don't remember where I heard that. We did when I was in 6th and 7th and 8th grade, we did all these American historical songs in the chorus I was in at school. We may have done that there. Okay, so this is the Razorback. Dave mentioned the Razorback from Dirk Pinkerton before. He got a custom Razorback. This is one on loan from Dirk Pinkerton. He asked if I would be interested in checking it out. As I've been in a clip point phase, I said, well, hell yes. And he sent this along to me. This to me is not really a clip point. This is an upswept fighter, but that's just me putting labels on things like this generation is obsessed with doing. Double edged. This one, it does not have the final edge on the top, but it is, the swedge is so thin it is set up to be sharpened. On Dave's, he had the thumb area expanded and jimped so that you could hold it in a Filipino grip like this. So it's more of a bayonet grind where this bevel stops about. This thing, an Elmax steel, by the way, this thing is so light. It's hollow ground, so thin, and just so light and symmetrical as hell. These are not easy grinds to get perfect, and they are perfect. I mean, in as much as I can discern from looking down it and obsessing and putting shining lights on it and stuff. These grinds side to side are just perfect. Beautiful ergonomics on this. Feels great in hand in this saber grip. Uh, Almost better in reverse grip. It's just an awesome knife in reverse grip. You got that perfect length of the handle so you can cap with the thumb. But look at that blade. Is that not a thing of beauty? This guy, Dirk Pinkerton, he's a cool dude. He's a great designer, and he is a tremendous grinder of steel. Just ask, just ask Dave. I mean, this thing is just so freaking thin. It's like a Jack Wolf Knives blade, just large. It's wicked. So cool. And as usual for Dirk, comes in a great Kydex sheath. His Kydex is awesome. So I'm very, very psyched about this knife. And, I will soon be making it mine with a few alterations. Apex Grind says, first of all, hey, Apex Grind, it is lovely to have you here. Sick fixed blade. I couldn't agree more. Dirk Pinkerton makes sick fixed blades. He does. I mean, he designs some really cool folders for a number of these makers, but Dan makes blades awesome. And they always touch on, oh, that's what it is. This knife I just showed off looks like a knife from somewhere in the Middle East that my dad brought back for me from somewhere. I got to get the specs on it, but I've showed it off here. So this what I'm getting at is Dirk Pinkerton is always working from historical material, whether he's consciously doing it or not. His knives evoke or are exact modern interpretations of classic cultural knives. He has a fascination, and I totally get that. And he has been doing a lot of Middle Eastern knives recently, like the jambaya. He's been doing jambayas and kinjals a lot recently. Dion Page says, horse or gator front, I'd like to put a saddle on its backside and ride that beast into the sunset with my cold steel in hand. Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it's got the horse legs and the gator mouth. That would make it better for the run. Hollywood Tactical says, have a knife day. Yeah, Johnny Horton, the Battle of New Orleans. My dad used to listen to that song. Oh, that's cool. My grandfather used to play the Tchaikovsky 1812 Overture when we would drive around in his car. Grandpa, put on the song with the cannons. I got such a rush out of that when I was a little kid. You know, the part where they fire all the cannons during the 1812 Overture. I just thought that was the coolest thing. Byron says, guys and dolls, have a bye. And Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday week and weekend. And man, always a pleasure to have you here. Take care, my good sir, and be well. Be well. That's something you never hear me say, but be well. Be well, folks. Be well, folks. Folks, let's be well. All right. One last knife to show off in the state of the collection. Now, kind of a companion piece to the off-grid Raptor Coyote sent to me this week. God, I love this thing. I love that color combo too. Is the updated and awesomeified off-grid knives Backcountry Coyote. Now, if you recall, he sent me this Coyote about a year ago, and I was like, wow, this is such an improvement over the Backcountry Blackout that I have. The handle felt more contoured. The texturing pattern I liked better, less harsh on the hand, and just generally an overall improvement. And then he sends me this. This is the V2 of the Coyote off-grid backcountry. And man, the improvements are coming apace here. First of all, we got a taco instead of a pancake sheath, which I like much better because it reduces the footprint radically. He also gives you a push-off point right there for the thumb, so you can pop the sheath off like that. He also, instead of this sort of ad hoc folded over with the stout Velcro and snap thing here, Why do I keep losing that camera? That's really bugging me. Uh, Vast improvement in the sheath. Okay, so now we remove the knife and in hand. Wow, big changes. Big changes. They're subtle but big. Uh, so much more contoured is the new one. That's the one on top. First of all, thinner overall in the handle. And then you have these real wide, dramatic chamfers here to bring that in a bit. This has always struck me as a little bit boxy, even though with this second iteration, it feels really good in hand. The chamfers and the increased contouring from north to south has really made this a much better knife in hand. I mean, I love the first version, and then I thought that this was a vast improvement, and now this one is a big improvement over this improvement. So I guess it's just a short, long way of me saying that off-grid knives is constantly like upgrading and tweaking designs, and this is a case where it's paying off in spades because you still have that same awesome recurved blade shape, and the handle just keeps getting more and more comfortable. So very happy about this, and very happy about the sheath. I want to see, yeah, the new knife fits in the old sheath, just not as tightly because there's less material. So that snaps in, and then this will snap in, and everything is in its right place. Oh man. Off-grid knives. Love what they're doing. I just recently sent out two newsletters, one 2 weeks ago and then one this week, featuring the Off-Grid Knives Cleaver V2 because I had a project to do with my 8-year-old daughter. She had to build a pueblo, for an American Indian project. And so we used this almost exclusively. User 579, good to have you here, sir. I love Pikal knives, but why not sharpen both sides? I agree, man. I agree. I guess the only reason is if you have any interest in remaining legal. I know a lot of states have issues with double-edged things. But in essence, I agree with you 100%. Not even in essence, in every way, I agree with you 100%. So yeah, we did use this. This cut styrofoam really well. Styrofoam is a weird material to cut. This also did some cutting of small wooden stakes or wooden sticks that ended up being ladders. We did a lot of cool stuff with this knife. Check out the newsletter and learn all about it. Edgy American scammer alert. Knives 101 is Monster Racing 38. Beware. Hey, yet again, Shane has his eye on things, and he knows who's full of it, and he's calling it. You explained that to me. Mon's come on this show before, and well, I sensed no impropriety here, but I remember some of the things you were saying. So thank you for keeping everyone in the loop and letting people know as people you might not want to be mixing with change their channel name and their identity and stuff like that. You want to know who you're dealing with. So much appreciated, Shane. Knives to my I have a Pinkerton broadhead. You're right. Amazing grinding skills. Great show. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you, Knives to my. Yeah, that broadhead is cool. Very, very cool self-defense option with that's one place where I can really get behind the hole, for your finger to go through. So very, very cool. And of his grinding skills, he's well respected among his peers. So that's also cool. Apex Grind, good to have you here, Apex. I did the Pueblos with my kid when she was in 4th grade. That's awesome, man. They're fun to make. I love the projects in general. And there's always a moment where my wife is like, this is so obvious that you made this. And I'm like, I didn't make it. She cut the parts and we talked and we drew it out. And, but if I didn't, then what would it look? Would it look like a Pueblo? Probably, who knows? She's learning how to do all this stuff. She's learning how to build a mini Pueblo by watching a mini Pueblo be made. Shane says, I wish the best for Hoback, but haven't forgiven him enough to buy one. Yeah, and they're also quite expensive. I think $700 or something like that. Really sucked with the Psalm 35 axe, which I believe is bigger. Not, I made a mistake when I was researching this one, which I could have just looked right at it because it has the name on it. But yeah, Shane, I hear you about that. Sticks in my craw a little bit too. The I mean, not a little bit, a lot bit, because for me, the expense of the product, like there are a couple of things that go into why I feel like the expense of the product, the unforthcomingness, and then the hesitant admission once busted, and then the all of the biblical stuff. It's like the that's what rubs me wrong. Like, everyone makes mistakes and does stupid shit and then gets busted. Frequently people get busted in their worst. It's like, uh, really, I'm really a great guy almost always, but I did this crappy thing and I'm busted for it. But honestly, I'm such a great guy. Yeah, but we only have this thing to go on. And to me, it's just, errors, like lies by omission are still lies, especially when you're upholding a commonly held opinion or thought on something and you just don't want to. So yeah, and then you add all the biblical verse. It's kind of like, I don't know about that. Blame Dexter says, my parents did so many of my school projects in school. Oh man. So Blame Dexter, you seem to have turned out okay, right? I'm not doing my kids too big a dis. Now she knows how to build a Puebla. And I mean, she did the glue and she did a lot of it. It's just, I know how to build stuff. I know how to plan these things out. And that's what you got to do. You got to sit down, you got to plan them out, and then you got to go search for materials. I also did the same book report like 4 years in a row. Okay, Blame Dexter. When I was in, I don't know, 3rd grade, maybe, I had a book report to do. And I remember my mom got me this book about a cave boy, which was probably cool, for Christmas. And I always felt really bad that I never read it. Cause I'm like, I was a very sensitive kid. I'm like, my mom spent time finding this and she bought it for me and she wanted me to read it. And I understood all of that, even at the ripe old age of whatever you are in 3rd grade. But I still just didn't read it because I wasn't much of a reader as a kid. But then it came time to do a book report. And I hoodwinked everyone. I made up the story of Tonga the cave boy. I could have just read the book. It would have taken me less time and effort to just read the damn book and do a book report. But I basically wrote an entire book, and and I remember I had to do an oral report too. And I'm just like, I'm just making this shit up and everyone's believing me. And it was probably a pretty good story, I just don't remember it now. But anyway, CPM says M3 tactical CCT folder knife of the year. Not some weird stuff, right? With the M3 tactical. And I don't know about the CCT folder, but I do know that they were building the version of the growler for the guys at Devo, Kev and Colin. And then I saw an Instagram post from from Devo Knives saying, oh, it's, just irreconcilable differences with the manufacturer, M3 Tactical. We're not going to be doing this with them anymore. And, no love lost, maybe we can make it work the next time. Just very amicable. And then M3, I noticed that all of their posts were just like, you got to believe in what you're doing and don't let anyone else like, it was like very defensive for like a day. All of their posts were like, very like, stand up for yourself, don't put up with any bullshit, do business the way you think it should be done and everyone else can dangle. And it was like, oh, I guess things aren't amicable from your point of view. But I thought that was a little, I don't know, I thought that was a little unprofessional. I think if you have problems with someone, you keep it to yourself. Maybe I'm old school that way. You don't just like, I don't know, plaster it all over the place. Shane says, I did an entire poetry notebook using hair metal lyrics. That is awesome. Dude, that is awesome. That's awesome because you know that the first time those lyrics were written, they were probably written for a high school poetry thing, you know? Uh, that is so funny, man. So some beautiful lyrics in that music. Blame Dexter says, I turned out all right, I think. Made up for it later in school doing projects I actually kind of enjoyed. Well, that's cool. And Blame, you're at a great wow, this is gonna sound like an old fogey talking to a young guy, but you're at a great point in your life because uh you're obviously engaged. You're uh out there engaging with people. You have interests. A lot of kids don't seem to have any interests outside of being entertained. And now I'm sounding like my dad did, 30 years ago. So take it all with a grain of salt, but I'm just saying blame Dexter. You probably got it going pretty well. It seems like there are a lot of people of your generation who are very confused, or maybe I'm thinking more of millennials. Maybe the generation just above you. It feels like millennials aren't having children. They're not leaving their parents' homes. They're becoming kidults and buying Star Wars action figures and playing with them. Not just keeping them in the box to resell them later, but playing with them. Anyway, Apex Grind says Protec Runt 5 and Magna Cut, the biggest small knife in history. Love all the good people at Protec. Yeah, Protec's awesome. They're great guys. Dave is an awesome dude, and everyone there. Hero Sticks. I forged my mom's signature on my band practice slips for years. That saxophone didn't get much play at home. Oh, Hero, that's funny. And I just said everyone at Protec is awesome. I don't know everyone at Protec. I only know one person, and I think he's awesome. So, but I bet he hires great people. Also, if you're going to burn your interim report card, which I know it's all on computer these days, so but make sure you rub it in your hands because you still read it once it's Shane, dude, that's hilarious. I did the same thing with U2's Joshua Tree. That's so funny. That is so funny. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. And your teacher's like, this is beautiful. This child is so talented. He could be like a totally self-righteous Irish rock star one day. That's funny, man. All right. I think we're about time to wrap it up here. It's been awesome. It's been 2 weeks that we didn't do Thursday Night Knives, and I swear it felt like longer. It felt like much longer. Like I had a lot built up to let out right here. So anyway, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun. We have no podcast on Christmas Day. We're upholding our Christmas vacation as we have in the past. And the first new show will be on Sunday, January 1st of 2023 with my good buddy, Jimmy Slash. I love that guy. He is awesome. And he's got a new knife coming out with Cold Steel. If you haven't heard about that yet, and it's a chopper because he is a Blade Sports competitor. So I'm very, very much looking forward to get one of those. Also, tune in next week where we'll be giving away the other one of these brand new inbox discontinued Cold Steel cons, courtesy of Jimmy Slash. Also, check out all these cool knife t-shirt designs that Jim has been working on. I love the sharp knives matter and hey, it was. And then there's a word find up there too. Very, very cool. All right, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher as well as the design program, I want to say I'm Bob DeMarco, thanking you guys and gals for watching. I really appreciate it. I want you all to have a very, very Merry Christmas. And or if you're celebrating Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah to you. Or whatever your faith has you celebrating, do it with great aplomb and great vigor. And we'll see you here next week. All right, take care. I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.